If you've been feeling a little lost, a little indecisive, a little unsure, then this video is for you, helping you understand why those decisions are getting a little lost in translation or a little stuck and pushed back into back play when actually you want to move forward and embrace the life that you're trying to do. So my name is Ben Edfield, I'm a leadership coach, and in this video we're going to be looking at how we can make better decisions and how we can understand our decision-making process. But make sure you stick around to the end because there's a really important message about how we can cope with our decision-making process and moving forward into our future that we want to have. So let's acknowledge some of the whys of how these decisions aren't progressing and making through to the next stage of actually actioning. The first thing is an unconscious or sometimes conscious reason of not wanting to change, not accepting change, not wanting there to be change, so we simply bury our head in the sand and we hide away from the decision itself in the expectation that somehow our lives can always be static, never changing, always following the path of least resistance to the happy flow that we're in now. Sadly, sometimes even when we're not in a happy place, we still don't like change. Our brain is not geared towards wanting change, it's wanting a stability around us and a familiarity around us. And this can be a huge underlying threat to our progression and to the possibilities of enriching our lives in the future. So the second possibility of why we don't often make decisions is because we don't want to pay the short-term costs. And there's every reason why we don't want to pay that. We might be upsetting someone that we love, we might be putting ourselves into a position where we've said yes in the past and we don't want to let someone down, or simply we don't want that obligation, spoken about doing something, it being our habit, and then changing from that. Even though our lives might have progressed and changed, we feel that we should still be able to do all the obligations that we always had and still remain so. So the short-term pain, sometimes we often stay in the decision-making process long after the fact that we've actually want to bail out, and yet because we don't want to go through the personal pain for ourselves or the personal pain for others or the feeling that we're letting someone down, we remain doing the same thing over and over again. Understanding it is a short-term cost for a long-term benefit, and yet we still remain in that cycle of just weighing ourselves down with whatever the obligation is. So the third thing can be around the fact that we think that we need more information. We've got to accumulate more data to make this decision make sense. So we become paralysis analysis. We're always looking and looking for the perfect solution, the perfect amount of information, and it just starts closing in us. We start actually being paralyzed by the contradictory information of all the information that's coming at us. We just keep accumulating all this data, all these different facts, they start not helping us in any way, shape or form. Analysis paralysis was one of the big blocks against making a decision and making a step forward into action. So the next part is, will this decision make it better for me in the long run? And this is where everyone else's take on it seems much easier than your own, because everyone else's emotions are removed from it. Your emotions are often entwined into your decision-making process, and rightfully so. It's your life. So why wouldn't your emotions be entwined? To believe that you can make unemotional decisions all the time is just a fallacy. However, if we understand our emotions and understand the weighting and the filters that we have in them, helps us understand how to make those decisions from, is this better for me in the long run? Is this going to improve me in the long run? To, is it an emotional, I'm scared, emotionally unsure, I don't know, I simply can't know. And no decision we can possibly know into the future can possibly be completely and utterly without doubt. Because how can we know our own future? We don't know what's happening in the next 10 minutes, let alone the next 10 years. So all we can do is the best possible decision we can in this moment of time with the facts that we have, with the values, with the expectations that we're trying to portray with our life going forward. So here's the crux of the whole problem. When we actually get into the emotions that overlay any decision making that we're making. Because if it was an easy decision, we've already made it, we would have moved on. So often what's holding us back is the fact that it's mixed in with emotions and mixed into possibilities and the what ifs, and I can't possibly understand what my future is going to entail. First thing to do is recognize what sort of filters and biases that we have and what's blocked us from maybe this possibility or this opportunity and why we're not taking it. Am I lacking the courage to do it? Am I lacking in any way the skills? And the skills sometimes hold us back when we actually think that we should be more experienced, more skillful, more accomplished, and we say no to situations or possibilities when in fact the only way to get those skills and those experiences is by stepping forward and remembering you still have some skills to bring to the party. Having the experience in every situation is never going to be the case, because we all start out with a low skill level, a low tool level. We build up these skills and build up these experiences to be able to cope with different things. So remembering the simple philosophy, if I've already done what I've always done, then I'll always keep doing what I've always done. If you don't change and don't understand your biases and don't understand the filters that happen to help you move through these decision-making processes, then how can you make those changes into your future? So if you want to change something, then you have to change the way you're looking at it. So the first big thing is understanding we have the facts and figures and the analysis of it as best we can. Understanding those emotional cues and those emotional triggers that help us then move through to the decision itself. Because if we can look at those emotional triggers and those emotional cues and really understand them for what they are, rather than being caged in by them. So in other words, if I have this decision over here and I'm feeling actually I want to do it, but I'm feeling fearful, I'm feeling unsure, understand that is a perfectly legitimate feeling to be having, but it doesn't necessarily preclude you from actually going and being uncomfortable with your decision. However, if we put too much weight, well, that means I must be unable to do it. So my body is telling me I'm unable to do it. Remember, our protective brain, our brain that wants us to be in the same status all the time and not rock the boat, is always going to tell us not to explore and to do in certain situations. So just because you're feeling fearful, just because you're feeling worried, isn't a cue that the decision itself is wrong. Sometimes the biggest decisions we actually make will be coated in those cues and triggers of I'm feeling fearful, I'm feeling worried. So here is the bonus to it all. There's no decision is by itself standalone. You will always flow into the next thing, and then it flows from there. Life keeps progressing. It's understanding that the decision itself is sometimes not the be-all and end-all that we think it's going to be, because we'll always refocus, regroup, reset, and understand what we need to do next. So the decision is that make the decision, make an action, and then analyze it. Don't get stuck in the first part of it. The fact that you're trying to make the perfect decision, the fact that you're feeling unsure, doesn't mean the decision itself is bad. It's that the fact that you make the decision and then you move through it, you action it, and then you keep analyzing it and making sure it's still right for you in the future. And then you make another courageous decision, another courageous decision, and another courageous decision. Life is all about keep making these decisions rather than just think it's an all or nothing strategy. Life is rarely about all or nothing strategies. It's about keeping that 1% going. Keep doing the best you can in that moment. Keep deciding that you want a better life. Keep deciding that you want to try and do something that's outside your comfort zone. I really hope this video helps with your next decision, and when you're feeling stuck and lost and indecisive, it's not a be-all and end-all moment. You can make a decision, you can move through it, you can feel uncomfortable and still be a good decision. And the best thing is you haven't then lost the ability to analyze it, look at it, see how it's flowing, see if it still suits you, and then make another decision. Don't believe that that one decision, that one moment is going to hamper you for the rest of your life. You can change, you can set about, you can be persistent, you can be courageous, you can be all those things, but if you're stuck not doing any of those things, then nothing will change. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable, be nervous, but make a decision into an action, and then let things move forward. I hope this really helps. And if you like this video, please share it with others that you know that may be struggling with a little bit of indecisiveness or feeling a little lost. And please like and subscribe, and I hope I'll catch you on the next video. In the meantime, remember to be kind, and the most important person to be kind to is yourself. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.